Hey guys, welcome back to the weekly report of the games I've been playing. And this week I played 3 games. So starting off, of course, is KCD2. And I'm happy to say I finally finished the game. So I clocked in about maybe a little over 100 hours by the time I beat this game. And I really enjoyed it. I loved the writing, the dialogue, the story, like everything about it was great. I love the performances of every character, and I will say like the last 4 hours of the game or so really was absolutely epic and insane, and I loved every minute of it. It was difficult even with maxed out gear and levels, but it was such a thrill ride. And this definitely cemented as one of my favorite games ever made, and is definitely my game of the year as of right now. And if you are someone that really enjoys RPGs with this level of deepness, I highly recommend you check it out. This is a top tier game. Now, even though I consider this to be a masterpiece, this game does have some issues on the technical side. And what I mean by that is, so the first region was pretty solid, like for glitches and stuff. There wasn't that many. There was a few popping in here and there from like tree branches or bushes, but nothing too severe. But on the second region, the pop-in was a lot more prevalent, and it was very distracting in certain parts, and like textures from the road would pop in when you like fast travel or when cutscenes transition to different scenes. So that was one thing I noticed. And I also noticed too in the second region, when it came to cutscenes, like certain characters, their heads would twitch like this, and it was very distracting. And that happened when like there was cuts between like different characters talking. That's when it mostly happened. That was also distracting. And the only major thing that happened to me during my playthrough was towards the end of the game when you play as Godwin. So he's another character that's part of the story, and he's the only other character you play as throughout the story. So when you play as Godwin for the last time is when the game actually crashed on me. And if you haven't played a game like this before, or even the first one, there is a fixed amount of auto save points, and in between those save points, if the game crashes, you revert to the previous one, and that can be a couple minutes before the crash, or it could be an hour or two before it crashed. And for me it was like 20 minutes or so. But that was because I was talking to everybody, and I was really like going through all the dialogue options and stuff as Godwin. So that's why it took me 20 minutes to get to where I was when the game crashed. And the game only crashed on me once, and at this point I was well over 90 hours into the game. So that is not too bad, but it is something that I want to make a note of. But other than that, the game is pretty stable. The only frame dips really are when the game autosaves itself or when you save the game manually. But the only times that the frame dipped when I was in the world or just in the combat is when it got really busy, or when I was in Kuttenberg. That was a very dense area in the game. But it wasn't anything that really hindered the experience for me, besides that one crash, which thank God it was only just one. But yeah, it was a great game, really enjoyed it, and yeah, I highly recommend it if you like realistic RPGs that you don't mind spending hours grinding levels and really getting to know the mechanics of the game to learn how to play it properly. So yeah, that's all I have to say on KCD2. So that was Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It's about time I beat it, huh? So in between playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I also been playing Croc and the Legend of the Gobbos. So I mentioned before, this is a remaster of a PS1 game. It is a collectathon platformer game, and the developer have since patched the game and now works properly. And I've been playing this game off and on, and I'm on the 3rd region, which is the desert region, and I've kind of hit a soft roadblock. That's only because the game has frustrated me with the platforming and some of the ridiculous enemies that you face. And I have to now pretty much grind for lives because I only have 2 lives now, and I've been dying a lot in the underwater portions of certain levels. And you can use attack under the water, but sometimes, like I experienced last night, when you transition from one water section to the next, sometimes the attack button doesn't work, and that has killed me a couple times. And Croc doesn't swim very fast underwater, so there's certain enemies that shoot like fireballs at you underwater. They're like orange orbs, and most of those things have taken my life in the game. But yeah, I've grown very frustrated, and I will go back and, you know, finish it off. But yeah, as of right now, I'm taking a little break from that because I got a little frustrated too. So that was Croc and the Legend of the Gobbos. And the last and final game I played during the week is, of course, Clair Obscure Expedition 33. So far I've only put 2 hours or so into the game, and that was just enough for me to get through the prologue and start of Act 1. So the basic premise of this game, if you've never heard of it before, is there's this entity called the Paintress, and every year at the same time she has this monolith where there's a number on it, and the Paintress, that certain specific time of year, always takes away whatever number's on there, and the number decreases by 1. And what that means is that whoever's the age that the number displays passes away. And at the start of the game, the number's 34, but then it changes to 33. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this game is already heavy on the emotions, and you really feel bad for a certain character when the game starts, and it really sets the tone and the stakes of the expedition that your character and his entire entourage is gonna go on. And so yeah, I started Act 1, and I've recruited the first person after you reached the area you were meant to go, and I'm gonna go from there. This game is a turn-based RPG where, of course, you take turns or whatever. It's your typical turn-based RPG, but what makes this one a little more involved is you have the ability to parry and dodge in between turns. So once you attack or use a skill and it's the enemy's turn, you have a chance to dodge or parry, but of course you have to time it correctly. And on top of that, when you do certain attacks, you actually have like quick time events. So if you press the X button or the A button if you're on Xbox at the right time, you will do more damage to the enemy. And of course, if you parry the enemy at the exact moment the attack is about to connect, you do a perfect parry and you do more damage. And the same thing with dodge. If you dodge at the perfect time, you do a perfect dodge. And it really is a lot more involved, and it kind of reminds me of South Park: The Fractured Butthole when it comes to timing your attacks, because you also have quick time events for certain attacks in that game. But yeah, I really like the way they did the turn-based in this game, because it is a lot more involved. Instead of you just pressing attack or a skill and you just see it play out and you're just like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And you, most of the time in those instances, you skip the animation. In this one, you have to actually pay attention. So that's a breath of fresh air. It's not like revolutionary or anything like that, but it is very good. It is nice to see that the game doesn't really want you to just lay back and not pay attention to the combat, because it's turn-based. And of course, like, the story, the way it's told is very cinematic. The production is actually pretty high for a game that is considered to be AA, because this game is not a AAA game. It is made by a French studio with only 30 people, and even though there are some like aspects of the game where you can tell that the game is AA, the production value is still like they maximized the budget for this game, and you can tell because the game looks very pretty. The way that they did the motion capture and the way like the scenes are played out is very top notch. And the fact that this game is only $50, where you get games that are $70 that don't reach this quality, is pretty insane. And I've seen a lot of people on YouTube talking about how this game is going to impact the industry on how games are made and how games are perceived. And I do agree with that. Even though I'm only 2 hours in, I can already tell the quality and the passion that was put into this game. And what's even more, I guess, kind of crazy is that there's some celebrities that are voicing characters in this game, like Charlie Cox from Daredevil and Daredevil Born Again plays the main character you play as, Gustav. And this is his first video game voice recording, and he's doing a pretty good job so far. And of course we got Andy Serkis playing a character. I haven't reached that character yet, but he does play someone in this game, which he's no stranger to voicing characters in video games, but it's still pretty cool that he was brought on board to do this game. And yeah, I am very excited to get through the rest of this game, and I'm hoping to beat this game before Doom the Dark Ages comes out, because that comes out in the middle of this month, and I'm definitely going to be obsessed with that game when that comes out. But yeah, so far I'm really enjoying what I've played, and I'm excited to see where this game goes. So that was Clair Obscure Expedition 33, and once again I would like to ask you what you played during this week. What are your thoughts on the games that you've played? Are you playing Clair Obscure, or are you playing Oblivion, because those are like the two popular games right now? And what are you looking forward to? So anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.